I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Don't forget, from now until Halloween, every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to have 12 new spooky streaming suggestions for you. I know we're knee deep in the Halloween season, but I know there's still plenty of you out there who are struggling to find something to watch when the spooky mood arises. So let me do the work for you. I got a bunch of streaming suggestions for you on all your favorite services, and I'll still have my normal weekly reviews going up for y'all as well too in the world of horror, whether it's movies, TV shows, games, books, whatever. You don't want to miss any of that, and the best way to stay up to date on everything I'm dropping on my channel is to get subscribed to my Linktree. And you can do that by going to linktr.ee/tscarymovie. If you get subscribed to my Linktree, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page, the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio-only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings through the year, to my TikTok page for my short horror content, including movie news and movie premieres, to my Twitch page for my horror gaming, including The Thing Remastered and Phasmophobia, and to my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy my 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop, including a yearly subscription to the physical magazine. Take advantage of that, folks. Hit that subscribe button. As the more followers I get, more content I can put out for all of you. So, what are we talking about here tonight? Well, folks, in my quest to keep finding new horror films to watch this Halloween season, Hulu debuted a new film based on one of their bite-sized Halloween shorts. Folks, tonight we are talking Mr. Crocket. Now, if you haven't seen the trailer for Mr. Crocket before, this focuses on children's TV show host Mr. Crocket, who is the best friend of everybody's kid out there. But when a number of kids begin to go missing, the parents are left clueless and begin to suspect something more sinister with the Mr. Rogers-like character. Folks, that is Mr. Crocket. Now, honestly, I came into this one very, very blind. I had not seen the bite-sized Halloween TV show on Hulu before, and I definitely had not seen the Mr. Crocket episode that they had done 2 years prior that led to this movie being adapted. Now, Brandon Espy is back here on both writing and directing duties along with Carl Reed. Brandon Espy is the one who wrote the original short that appeared on Bite Size Halloween, and obviously is here again to direct and help adapt the feature-length adaptation of that short story. Now, I didn't see the short story. Like I said, I walked into this very blind. And so going into this movie, I'd seen a little bit of chatter on social media already today here, seeing some not so great things. But folks, I loved me some black horror for sure. And it's very, very rare we get a new black horror villain. Like typically, that's just not something that really happens. So of course, I'm definitely going to give something like that a chance, because you never know how well that's going to work out. And honestly, I found myself very pleased with the outcome here of Mr. Crocket. Now, a lot of this hinges on the performance of our villain, played by Elvis Nolasco. Now, puts in amazing work here because he's going back and forth consistently through the film between being sweet and cuddly and happy and nice, somebody that you actually feel like you can trust. But at the same time, even before a lot of the evil stuff and a lot of the dark stuff starts emerging, you kind of look at some of the footage of this Mr. Crocket show. And I don't know if you can detect the evil right away, but something absolutely feels off with Mr. Crocket's demeanor on these TV show episodes that we get to consistently see over the course of this film. And it makes sense why a lot of the parents that we see in this movie as well also feel a bit of unease when the program starts up or when they catch a glimpse of this as well too, because there is something incredibly unnerving about that. And I think that's one of the best things here that Brandon Espy is able to do with this script, and that Elvis Nolasco is able to do with this performance, is that they're able to make an unsettling TV show for kids that really could have existed back in the 90s. And as somebody that grew up in the 90s and grew up watching, shows like these when I was on the younger side there, this is absolutely something that I would have tuned into. So I can understand the real terror behind that, because it's easy to see how kids get connected to this. And I should mention, this film is set, like I said, in the early 90s. I believe it's set in 1994, which, man, I love me some 90s, man. So any chance to go back there is always a trip. The story really focuses on Summer and her son Major. Summer, who you might know, played by Jerrica Hinton, who was in Hunters over on Prime Video, as well as Grey's Anatomy for a while as well too. And they're mourning the recent loss of Summer's husband, Major's father, and Summer's realizing that she just might not be in the right mindset at that moment to do the best job taking care of Major. Now, I want to quickly call out here, we're not saying that Summer is a bad mom at all, and considering that she's lost the love of her life partner, and Major very much is acting out, most likely in response to losing his father and now nobody having, that firm hand or having that fatherly figure in the life. Regardless of what you attune to, that's what the story is trying to tell, is that Major himself is acting out because he doesn't have this other parent in his life that he probably latched onto just a little bit more. So Summer's at her wit's end. She can't seem to find a solution for dealing with Major, and that results in her saying some very, very unkind things to him. And this is where the story really truly does take off. Now, the movie doesn't keep us guessing for that long. That is one thing I want to get out of the way here pretty quickly, is that the movie does make it clear early on in this that no, this is really something that's going on. And of course, if you have the prior knowledge of the short, Mr. Crocket, then of course you also know here that there's something much worse happening as well. And most of the parents in the film are kind of trying to be shown in a negative light. But when we dive deeper into the story behind Mr. Crocket and the reasoning for these kidnapping of the children and his vitriol towards all these parents, when we really dive into that, there's a bit of a deeper story baked in there. And honestly, again, coming into a black horror, it's kind of a perfect tale because, these kind of concepts are dealt with everywhere, but obviously, y'all, the concept of there not being a lot of father figures in the life of these young men and women and growing up and maybe not having all the right influences they could need. And single parents do amazing jobs. So I'm not saying anything negative about that at all. But let's be honest here about the way things are in black culture a lot of the time, is that this is something that's been ingrained in our culture for a long, long time at this point. This idea that dads aren't there, and because of that, kids end up doing and making these choices that they might not make if they had both parents. Now, regardless of what you subscribe to, that again is the story that's being told. And I think that comes through very clear that, again, Summer obviously very much cares for Major, but she just doesn't know what to do in this case when he's walking all over her and she doesn't seem to have any leg up in the situation at all. And that's where Mr. Crocket gets in. And just another thing that resonates so much with black culture as well too is finding, father figures in somebody else, that somebody takes an interest in you, they're saying the right things, and because of that, you might let terrible things happen. You might see bad things happening right in front of you, and you still let them play out the way that they are, just because this person seems to be devoted to you. And sadly, that's kind of the story of Mr. Crocket in this as well. And it does a great job because I feel earlier on in the film, we were getting just a lot of gore and a lot of scares and a lot of monsters and stuff. And we weren't really getting much of an explanation. And honestly, I was starting to wonder, okay, are we not getting any kind of exposition in this film at all? No, I don't need them to force feed it to me or anything like that, but we have nothing to explain much of what's happening. This is just a random occurrence. Is it a demon from hell? Is this dude a witch? What the hell is going on? And eventually they do explain more of the backstory. And honestly, it's a pretty damn good backstory. And hats off again here to our creative team, Brandon Espy and Carl Reed. I thought that the way they chose to actually display that in the film, genius. And it fits in again with the tone of the film, the fact that our villain is a children's TV show host. The way that they regale us of Mr. Crocket's story is the perfect way to tell that. Now, what I will say here is that there might be some valued interest because we've been seeing movies that, and I'm not trying to lump them in because they're completely different, but films like Five Nights at Freddy's, Willy's Wonderland, films like that seem to have the same kind of appeal to where there's these childlike characters that kids just absolutely love, but guess what? They're also murderous and evil and demonic as well too. And that's very much a big part here of Mr. Crocket and his cadre of friends. if you want to call them that. There's a lot of blood in this film, surprisingly a lot of blood in this movie here, but it does fit because, again, given what we find out about Mr. Crocket and the motivations behind it, it's truly an insane man, truly an insane man, and it makes sense that he's truly looking to inflict pain and suffering on these parents who don't love their children and wants to basically get vengeance for these kids, as well as maybe a little bit for himself as well too. There's some strong messages in this one for sure, talking about what it's like to be a single parent and raise an unruly child who's dealing with their own loss, and what kind of methods you can take to really connect and get it all figured out. And I'm definitely not the one to be asking those kind of questions here, but I was very much surprised at the deep messaging here within Mr. Crocket. It's a bloody story. It's funny in some places as well too. I thought the acting was superb, and again, especially Elvis Nolasco does an amazing job in our lead role here as Mr. Crocket. But again, Jerrica Hinton does a fantastic job too in the role of Summer, our protagonist of the story. Honestly, folks, I do recommend checking this one out. And not only that, when you're done, go and check out the episode of Bite Size Halloween that inspired this, because that is also available on Hulu as well too. This one surprised me, and I was shocked that I felt like, even outside of like the Willy's Wonderland and the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, something about it just felt so familiar. And maybe it's because the tone of it, the direction of it seemed like it had a lot in line with a movie like Tales from the Hood, for example. I don't know why, but I just see this as being like a segment in the original Tales from the Hood. Something about it just fits right in perfect with that. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm crazy. Y'all let me know in the comment section here if there's some other films that you found some direct comparisons here with Mr. Crocket for a chance to win an Abigail Funko Pop that I'm going to be giving out at the end of the month. Again, y'all, you can check out Mr. Crocket as well as the Hulu bite-sized Halloween short that inspired this. Both of them are available on Hulu. The episode of Bite-Sized Halloween is in season 3 of the show. Again, it just came out a couple of years ago. But check this one out. This is one that, despite what we've seen, again, in a film like Five Nights at Freddy's, is not appropriate for that younger audience just due to the gore and the way that the monsters, we actually get to see a little bit more of what they're doing versus movies like that to where they kind of take it off screen. It's still PG-13 horror. This is very much R-rated horror for sure, y'all. And yeah, this is one that you do want to check out this Halloween season. So, appreciate you tuning in for another review. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I got more great stuff coming your way. And that's it for tonight, folks. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared. Boy here is a big fan of Fangoria. So, if you want to check out the world's best horror magazine that's out there, get a chance to get yourself your own subscription, which I just got my first one back in 2022, and I don't regret it for a second. But if you want your own Fangoria subscription, or you like the Fangoria merchandise, then head over to the Fangoria shop and use my link if you want to save yourself some money, folks. That's an easy one to remember. Just go to shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW. Again, that's shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW, or use my specific code AXDEW at checkout. You can save 20% off your entire order, and that implies 2 subscription and one-time orders as well. You don't want to miss out, folks, because with the magnitude of horror movies we've had released in the last few years, and with what we have on the horizon, Fangoria is going to be your #1 source for all that great, juicy, bloody information in the world of horror. So again, head to shop.fangoria.com. Hey there, folks! Thanks for tuning in to T Watch This Scary Movie. I appreciate you checking out another review or movie news, whether we're talking movies, TV shows, books, or games, whatever, it's all scary. Remember, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page for video. That's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. And you can check out the audio version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watch the Scary Movie or TWASM. Don't forget, my name is T.
We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.